Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT this morning, dozens of people are dead after an attack at one of Europe's largest and busiest airport. And a Kentucky native was supposed to fly out of the airport this morning. We'll have the details on that ahead here on WKYT. A hearing will be held today in Frankfort to discuss Governor Matt Bevin's Medicaid proposal. We'll have that story coming up as well this morning.
And Interstate 75 is blocked in Rockcastle County after a semi caught fire. What we know about the closure ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. So good to have you with us here on WKYT as we get this Wednesday, June 29th, off and rolling. It's going to be a nice day with some good improvements out there.
It's great news for us, and it's already feeling much cooler out there, Micah.
It feels great as you walk out the door early this morning. Some zones are actually a little bit chilly, especially if you get that wind blowing by you. Central northern zones. Down south, we still have some clouds overhead in some spots, and that's keeping our temperatures at bay right there around 66 degrees in London. That's still a fantastic start to the day, don't get me wrong. But look northbound. We're at 58 degrees Covington, 59 now in the capital city. 79 by the afternoon. Awesome weather in store. You know it doesn't last long. But I'll tell you this, it lasts longer than you would think. I'll have that, and I'll show you some weekend storms coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, those full details shortly. In the news this morning, flight operations have resumed at Turkey's largest airport as officials in that country are trying to figure out what led to a deadly attack on the country's largest airport.
Dozens were killed, more than 140 injured. At least 3 suicide bombers blew themselves up at Istanbul's international airport yesterday. Turkish officials say ISIS was involved. Tina Kraus has the latest from London.
This video posted on social media appears to show the moment one of the explosions tore through Turkey's largest airport Tuesday. Shortly before the blast, Turkish officials say assailants armed with AK-47s opened fire at the entrance of the international terminal. This footage appears to show an officer taking one of them down moments before the suspect blew himself up. Outside the airport, frantic passengers ran to safety as emergency crews rushed in to help the wounded.
One guy had holes in his back from shrapnel, or from glass.
Others rushed to a nearby hospital where victims were being treated. This Turkish man was desperate, looking for his mother, as distraught relatives wailed behind him. While there's been no claim of responsibility, federal officials tell CBS News the incident has all the hallmarks of an ISIS attack. Speaking from Aspen, Secretary of State John Kerry says attacks like these are a sign the militant group is getting weaker.
We have to get it right 24/7, 365. They have to get it right for 10 minutes or 1 hour. If you're desperate and if you know you're losing and you know you want to give up your life, then obviously you can do some harm.
Officials in Turkey are assessing the damage at the airport as the investigation continues to unfold. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Well, there is a Kentucky native in Istanbul right now who is scheduled to fly out of that airport this morning. Seth Collins tells us he was enjoying the last night of his 10-day vacation in Istanbul, but everything changed once he heard what had happened at the airport. He was actually supposed to leave from that airport. He says that he normally is a lively city, Istanbul. It was a lot quieter last night after the attack. Collins was able to change his flight so he can still fly out today from a different airport in Istanbul.
There'll be a lot of relief if I get on the airplane and it takes off and I can get on my way home. But yeah, I'm nervous about getting on an airplane, but I'd be nervous about staying right now anyway.
Well, we also spoke with a woman from Richmond who is in Istanbul right now. She told us she's safe, but she was about 10 minutes from the airport when the attack happened. She plans to stay in the city for the next 3 weeks.
We're tracking a major traffic alert this morning. Southbound I-75 is shut down in Rockcastle County after a semi caught on fire. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain is at our alert desk with details on that. Michelle.
The good news is it looks like the interstate is about to reopen, but that's after more than 5 hours of traffic being backed up. That semi caught fire, as you can see, while in the southbound lanes near mile marker 55. That's south of Mount Vernon near the Laurel County line. The driver told state police that he heard a popping noise around midnight. When he got out to check on his truck, he saw the trailer was on fire. He caught some minor burns to his arms while trying to put out that fire. He was hauling car parts, and some of that cargo was damaged by the fire. Now, state police say they're hopeful that the interstate will reopen soon. We'll be here keeping track on this and the traffic impact as we go along this morning.
All right, an ongoing situation for now. Michelle, thank you.
Today, people in Frankfort will meet to discuss possible changes coming to the state's Medicaid program.
A major hearing there. Governor Matt Bevin proposed the overhaul of the program a week ago. And WKYT's Mark Barber is live with more on what can be expected at today's meeting. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. And nearly 24 people spoke during the first public hearing last night at Western Kentucky University, and every single one of those speakers strongly disagreed with Governor Matt Bevin's proposal for Medicaid. Bevin is asking Medicaid officials to approve a plan that would require able-bodied adults to pay monthly premiums. They would lose their vision and dental benefits, but could buy them back through a program that rewards volunteer work and holding down a job. If Medicaid officials reject the governor's proposal, more than 400,000 people who are covered by the expansion of Medicaid would lose their insurance. Bevin wants to overhaul Medicaid in the Commonwealth because he thinks taxpayers are burdened with covering the high costs of the Medicaid expansion. However, many people are highly critical of the governor's plans to reshape the program.
The changes proposed by this waiver would be moving us backwards and literally hurting the people of Kentucky and our families and our communities.
Now, the second public hearing for Bevin's Medicaid proposal will be here in Frankfort at the Capitol Annex at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Live in Franklin County, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Thank you, Mark. We'll see how it goes there today. Also today, a man accused of shooting another man in the lung is going to be going before a judge. Police say Jimmy Skinner shot Sammy Isaacs earlier this month in Richmond. Isaacs' landlord says the shooting happened when Isaacs walked up to Skinner's car. Skinner's girlfriend claims Isaacs was threatening the people in the car, which included her and Skinner's daughter. Skinner is charged with wanton endangerment and attempted murder, and he's being held at the Madison County Jail.
It's scary because you don't see it on Malibu. It's a very safe neighborhood.
Lexington police think this robbery may be connected to robberies at 2 Speedway gas stations and a Waffle House. They're also trying to figure out if a shooting Monday at North Limestone and 7th Street is connected. Investigators say in that case, Coleman Saunders was robbed by 3 men and shot, leaving him critically injured. So far, police have not made any arrests for any of the robberies. Police hope surveillance video will help them find a man who they say fired a shot while robbing a Kentucky motel. Happened early Sunday morning at the Super 8 motel in Elizabethtown. Police say a man walked into the lobby, jumped over the front desk, then pointed a gun at the clerk. As the clerk ran off, the surveillance video showed the robber firing a shot. The clerk was not injured. They also say the robber left, police say, without taking anything.
A new factory has opened up in Laurel County, and it's creating some jobs in that area. RJM International used to be based in Cincinnati, but the company's owner decided to move the operations to London. Yesterday was the company's first day in its new facility there in Laurel County. The company makes and packages cosmetic products, including nail polish.
It comes in 55-gallon drums, 30-gallon drums, and 5-gallon pails. And then we take it from there and put it into all the different bottles. The job is easy enough that anyone really can do it.
A new industry there in London. RJM International hopes to add another 15 new workers by the end of the week. The company plans to package up to 50,000 bottles of nail polish each day. Work continues on the new Ark Encounter Park in Grant County. It's scheduled to open up next week. The park features a replica of Noah's Ark. It's scheduled to open on July 7th. Leaders of Answers in Genesis, the group behind the Ark Encounter, say everything will be ready to go by opening day, and they're expecting big crowds.
It's a very, very busy place gearing up for the opening, and we expect multi-thousands of people, up to 2 million people a year.
The park expects to hire as many as 400 seasonal workers. Ark Encounter says the park will be open year-round, by the way. 5:09 our time on WKYT this morning. We're just getting started here on your Wednesday, and it's great to have you along with us bright and early.
Once a victim of abuse, now he's helping other victims. How a Tennessee dog spreads happiness to those around him when we return.
Pretty nice start to the day. We're in the 50s and 60s. Awesome temperatures in store today and for tomorrow too. But it gets warmer towards your weekend and also much stormier. We'll talk about that forecast coming up.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
What an awesome midweek we have in store. Good start to the day as you're walking out the door. And you know what? In some zones, especially northern Kentucky, when you're in the upper 50s, I wouldn't say a jacket. It's not a jacket type of weather, but it is, a little bit cool, especially as that wind blows by you, as that cooler air, drier air keeps filtering on. And 59 degrees in Frankfort, in the capital city. The farther you go toward the north, the better likelihood of being there, just in the mid to upper 50s. 60 degrees now in Lexington. We'll actually finish off in the upper 50s. London at 66 is going to be hard pressed to actually get you guys, Jackson, and everybody else down south in the 50s. But still, 66 degrees is still pretty nice. We go then toward the afternoon, 79 degrees. Look at all the sunshine. You have no problems for today. I promised you that. So any plans you have going on trying to get the kids out the door, it's awesome weather. Out at the parks, yeah, perfect weather for that. Evening hours, looks like grilling out will be just fine. And then overnight and into tomorrow morning, we actually wake up right around 57 degrees tomorrow morning. Let's talk about the talkers for today. It's weather to be excited about. Everybody's going to be talking about the nice feeling today. I don't see how you're going to be in a bad mood when you have weather like this today and for tomorrow. Once we get a little bit closer to the weekend, I actually see a little bit moisture stream on in here. And toward the weekend, we'll get a few rumbles of thunder, especially there on Sunday. I'll show you a graphic here in just a few seconds, kind of break that down for you. But then we hit the 4th of July. Nature's own fireworks is what we're going to be dealing with as we get closer toward the 4th of July. Let's break down your weekend forecast. Saturday, small chance of rain. We're at 85 degrees. Then we hit Sunday. It's a much better chance of rain, about 60% at 82 degrees. So we'll stay in the 80s, but also bring in those chances of rain. The better opportunity for rain in your 7-day forecast is going to be on Sunday and off into Monday at 60%. But guys, you can see that 79 degrees today, 82 for tomorrow. 86 on Friday still isn't that bad. That's actually average for this time of year with only a small chance of rain. I'd say Friday and Saturday, if you got any events going on, any plans, heading out to the lakes, rivers, the pools, it's great weather for it. It really is. Only a small chance that we'll actually see a passing shower or thunderstorm, but it's really Sunday into Monday, which is unfortunate. You're trying to light off some fireworks there on Monday, and it looks like, yeah, you might have a few rumbles of thunder passing you by during that time.
Get a little mixed up in which is the real fireworks.
Right, yeah, that's true.
It's okay by me because maybe the neighbors won't be, neighborhood kids
true too.
setting off those fireworks days and days after the holiday.
They stretch it out. That's the problem. Thank you, Micah. 5:15 is our time, and a victim of domestic abuse in Tennessee is now helping out some other victims, and that helper's name is Lucky the dog.
As Lucky runs down the halls of the jail or the sheriff's office, he leaves a trail of smiles in what's often a dark place. But Lucky's life was not always so happy. He was in an abusive home. And while Lucky's owner was able to escape her abuser, she could no longer afford the dog. So the detective investigating the case decided to take Lucky in. She says Lucky now helps calm abuse victims so they can give their statements. He also stops by the jail to see the inmates. Once a victim, Lucky now roams freely through the halls, bringing happiness wherever he goes.
All right. One who sort of understands.
A lucky
what's
dog.
going on. Yeah, more ways than one. 5:16 on WKYT this morning. Great to have you with us here on this Wednesday, rolling toward July this week,
It's hard to believe it's already there.
Yeah.
Wow, it's going by fast. We've got to look at your money coming up.
A rare jewel is set to go up for auction, and how will Americans spend their money this 4th of July? I'm Karina Mitchell with the answer coming up in your CBS Money Watch report.
Hey, welcome back in. Good to have you along on WKYT this morning. It's 5:19 now. Home prices hit record highs. A rare jewel is up for sale.
And how will Americans spend their money on Independence Day? Karina Mitchell has the latest on your money.
Home prices in 7 cities, including Boston and San Francisco, have hit record highs. That's according to a key housing index, which shows home prices jumped an average of 5.4% in April compared to a year ago. Fewer homes for sale and low mortgage rates contributed to the strong demand. Wall Street rebounded Tuesday after 2 days of steep declines. The Dow picked up 269 points, while the Nasdaq gained 97. And if you've ever wanted to own a piece of rare jewelry, now could be your opportunity. The world's largest uncut diamond will go up for auction on Wednesday in London. Sotheby's is taking the unusual step of opening up the bidding to the public to attract a wider field of potential buyers. The stone is expected to fetch at least $70 million. And a new survey from Wallet Hub finds Americans will shell out nearly $7 billion on food this 4th of July holiday. About 150 million hot dogs will be consumed on Independence Day, and roughly 700 million pounds of chicken are purchased in the week leading up to the 4th. And that's your Money Watch. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. In New York, I'm Karina Mitchell.
Restaurants across the country are adding all-day breakfast to menus, but one company may be taking it to the next level.
Right, Kellogg's is opening a cereal restaurant. The cafe in Times Square will feature dishes made entirely from Kellogg's cereals. Ordering Life in Color will get you a bowl of Fruit Loops with lime zest, marshmallows and jam. Honey Buzz gets you Honey Smacks with honey, toasted pecans, and banana chips. And you can go the traditional route with milk or substitute it with ice cream. The dishes will run between $6 and $8. Kellogg's New York City restaurant will open up its doors on Friday. We'll see how it goes and see how those prices hold.
You know,
there
I'm
in
a
New
fan
York.
of fun, and I don't take myself too seriously or my eating habits. I'm not a foodie, as some people call, but this is a little overboard.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see. See how it goes. You never know. It might catch on. Coming up on 522 on WKYT on your Wednesday morning.
Sports is on the way next.
It was a tough day on Tuesday as the sports world loses 2 coaching icons, Pat Summitt in women's basketball and Buddy Ryan from the NFL. Sports is on the way.
Already seeing daybreak outside. Live sky cameras, sunshine and those sunlight beams actually come through the atmosphere. Gorgeous view as we have a good vantage point looking due east, and a few clouds outside all the way toward the eastern zones and down toward the south, so it kind of depends on where you are, but nonetheless, most of us will wake up with mostly sunny skies. 60 degrees right now in Lexington. As I stepped outdoors early this morning, it's a little cool, especially as that wind's blowing by you. 59 degrees right now in Boyle County, and then it takes you off into Harrodsburg and Mercer County. All looks well. Nonesuch, Kentucky, good morning to you guys. Holding on to Woodford County, southern Woodford. Looks like we're right there around that 60-degree reading, and then down south, a few more clouds is what we've had overnight, and that's why we're slightly warmer. It's 66 right now in the London-Corbin area. And we go through your day, you have no problems whatsoever getting the kids out the door. 79 degrees, awesome weather. More likely, you won't have to push them out the door. They'll just walk out the door. It's awesome weather for that. And as we head throughout the next few days, gets a little bit warmer, and then we'll bring in some storms for the weekend. I'll go over that. Your 7-day coming up. First, let's check out sports, see what's going on.
Pat Summitt was a pioneer whose influence went beyond the game of basketball. At the age of 64, she died Tuesday morning after battling Alzheimer's disease for 5 years. She also had early onset dementia. She was only 22 in 1974 when she started coaching Tennessee. She would go on to win almost 1,100 games and 8 national titles. UK's Matthew Mitchell was a graduate assistant under Summitt. He said as she grew into a legend, she never changed.
I don't think it ever changed her. I don't think it ever made her think she was more than anyone or who she was. And that level of humility, coupled with just an intense work ethic and consistent effort, were just real rare combination of qualities to find in a person. She was the definition of special.
Nia Butts is now an assistant at Kentucky. She played under Pat Summitt and was a part of 2 national championship teams. She told us what she learned the most.
All the things that you learn from her, because there's so many, but was to discipline yourself so no one else has to. And if you can do that in life, whether it's in sports, the work world, academically in the classroom, you can be special.
Former NFL coach and defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan died yesterday here in Kentucky. He was 85 years old. Ryan will be best remembered for creating the dominating 46 defense used by the 1985 Chicago Bears to win Super Bowl 20. Ryan later would be the head coach of the Eagles and Cardinals. Ryan retired in 1995 and lived on his farm in Anderson County before moving to Shelbyville. That's a look at sports. Have a great day.